what's up guys, Roger here. So I just walked out of watching Civil War and giving you guys my out of theater reactions for this. I wasn't sure if I was going to make a video because guys, when I first saw this trailer for Civil War coming from A24, I was a little nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? Is this going to be like a politically kind of driven, heavy message kind of a movie? Is this gonna lean right? Like, I'm sure a lot of people seeing the trailer were like, oh God, is this gonna lean far right, far left? Is it like a political thing? Like, is this like trying to, take what happened, January 6th, like all the insurrection stuff and just elevate it to another level? Like, what is Hollywood doing here? Like, I just felt like there was so much like surrounding this movie of what people thought this was gonna be. And so I was a little nervous, not nervous, I was just a little like, oh God, what is this gonna be? But honestly, one of the reasons why I came out to watch it was because I heard some pretty good word of mouth on it. I heard that the film was actually pretty good. And I gotta say, guys, this movie is not what I thought it was. Obviously, without giving spoilers, I can tell you that if you think that this is gonna be about all those things that I mentioned, it really isn't. There is a moment or two where, you do feel some of that tension that might feel like, oh, this is them trying to teach us a lesson, or like, oh, like maybe there's some sort of message here. But other than that, guys, most of this movie, all I can really say about it is that it's kind of a movie about really about war journalism and like what journalists have to go through and like what it really is like to be in the front line sometimes and to cover those things, and how the how to me it shows a lot of like the loss of humanity that a lot of these journalists and photographers have to go through when they're like in the field to cover all this. And there was a lot of stuff like that, because really what you're doing is you're following three journalists, two veterans and one young new journalist. And I have to say, I was kind of shocked that that's what the movie was about. And honestly, I was like, okay, yeah, I can vibe with this. Like, let's, this is an interesting topic. Let's take a look. I think that the movie's a little bit, I don't want to call it slow, because it's not like, oh, I was not entertained. But it takes a little bit to kind of get going. There is a lot of shock factor. I think that one of the biggest, like, kind of like impacting things about this movie is that you're seeing, we've seen war films before. We've seen, the horrors of war before, but seeing it in modern America is kind of shocking, right? To see it on screen was kind of something else. As far as the movie overall, I thought the third act was where it really picked up. I thought that's where like some of the movie making was really, really well done. But I have to say, guys, the ending of this movie, in my opinion, is very unsatisfactory. Something happens at the end, and it kind of ends a little bit after that. And I thought it was so unsatisfying. I felt like you've taken me on this huge journey. I've seen all this. I've gone through all this with, with these characters, and then this happens, and this is all I get. Like, I don't know. Although I want to say the third act is, to me, like the best part where things really pick up and you really get invested in like the action and what's going on, the ending was just kind of a sour note at the end of it. So I do have to say, guys, that for me, the ending felt pretty anticlimactic. I felt like they had done such a good job of like building it up, building suspense and tension, and just kind of like that third act is so good. It really picks up, and then it ends so abruptly that like it was so unsatisfying. I felt like I was kind of gypped out of an ending. And with that said, I will say that obviously, as I just mentioned, this movie has a lot of tension, a lot of suspense. There's a lot of gunfire, a lot of like war stuff going on, a lot of unsavory kind of things. So you should know that going into this. I mean, I feel like the trailers do a good job of saying that, but just putting it out there. And another thing I would say is that I'm kind of stuck in the middle, because this film was made so well. It's shot so well. The sound design is so well done. The actors are great. Like, all the fundamental pillars of filmmaking are done really, really well. But overall, I felt that like the dialogue and like the script, the story, like it just didn't have the depth that I wanted out of it. So it kind of left me wanting more in that aspect. Also, too, I think that it didn't help that like the film was marketed kind of as something else. At least that's how I took it. But even though once you get into the film and seeing, okay, we're following some war journalists and this is what it's about, like, these are the things they have to suffer through, like, It was good, but like I didn't feel like it was great. Like there wasn't enough depth. There wasn't anything to really write home about. And so I walked out of this and I just thought, okay, it's not a great film, but it's also not a bad film because like the fundamentals of the film were done well. So I'm stuck in the middle. So I'm just kind of left with like it was fine. I guess I'll say it's good. The main thing I do have to say, guys, the best part of this movie was Kirsten Dunst. I thought she was phenomenal. I thought her acting, her character, the way she portrayed it, man, she sold that part. Man, she did a great job of really embodying what that character was about and why they were there. And some of the other characters who I don't know their name, but like the other guy that's on the journey with him, I thought he was really great too. Obviously the one scene with Jesse Plemons, that's in the trailer where like, you know, like, what kind of American are you? Like, that was, you know, one of those impactful, like, oh, wait, what's going on here kind of moments. So his presence was definitely felt. And the young actress that's in the movie, I thought she did a really good job as well. I don't know that this is a movie that people should be rushing out to see because it's not that great. And, like, you know, it depends. It depends on what you're looking to get out of this movie. But what I can tell you is that it's a very well-made movie. And Kirsten Dunst is definitely the best part of this film. So yeah, that's kind of all I got to say. I don't know. I didn't even know if I was gonna make a video for this, but I just felt like I had to at least get two things out. Number one is that it's not what I thought it was going to be. So if you're watching this and you thought it was going to be that, it's not this, and that's either good news or bad news for you. But the other thing is Kirsten Dunst's character, awesome. I loved her performance. All right, guys, that's all for now. That's the straight out of theater reaction for Civil War. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for what's next to come on The Real Breakdown.